From the moment Donald Trump made history by securing the presidency, it was clear that his time in office would be unconventional, chaotic, and fraught with tension. Fast forward to the present, and the very fabric of his administration is unraveling before it's even officially begun. If the first week following his election is any indication, it's clear that his second term will not be defined by policy initiatives alone, but by an ongoing spectacle of infighting, backstabbing, and power struggles among his closest allies. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the toxic dynamics within Trump's camp, where individuals who once rallied around him are now clashing for power. From his Supreme Court picks to tensions within his inner circle, we will explore how Trump's administration is already descending into a chaotic mess, one that signals a rocky future for his second term. The notion that this administration could face even greater dysfunction than its first is quickly becoming a reality, and it's the American people who will bear the brunt of it. But for those watching from the outside, the drama within Trump's team will be nothing short of riveting. The fight for power begins, infighting among Trump's inner circle. The first signs of disarray within Donald Trump's camp came immediately after the 2024 election, a time when one would typically expect unity among allies. After all, they had just clinched victory. But instead of celebrating, Trump's allies quickly began battling over who would gain access to the levers of power. Throughout his campaign and presidency, Trump maintained an entourage of fervent supporters, each hoping to gain influence in his administration. But now that the election is over and the keys to the Oval Office seem within reach, these once loyal figures are showing their true colors. Power struggles are now at the forefront, as those closest to Trump vie for a role in his second term. Perhaps the most notable of these battles is centered around the Supreme Court. Mike Davis, a conservative attorney and likely candidate for Attorney General, is publicly pushing for the retirement of two of the court's longest-serving justices, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. According to Davis, both justices, now in their mid to late 70s, are past their prime and need to step aside so that Trump can replace them with younger, more ideologically aligned appointees, possibly for the next 60 to 70 years. But Davis's call for immediate retirements hasn't been universally accepted. Leonard Leo, a key figure behind many of Trump's judicial appointments and a staunch advocate for conservative causes, has warned Davis to hold his horses. Leo, who has been a major player in stacking the courts with conservative justices, argues that it's up to Thomas and Alito to decide when they want to retire, and they shouldn't be forced out. This internal conflict highlights just how messy Trump's relationships with his allies have become. Rather than working together to solidify their hold on the judiciary, key figures in his camp are already in open disagreement about who should control the future direction of the Supreme Court. RFK Jr. and the growing rift over Trump's health agencies. As if the power struggles in the judicial branch weren't enough, another conflict is brewing over the future of health policy within Trump's second administration. The key figure in this struggle is none other than Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the controversial anti-vaccine activist who has been discussed as a potential candidate for a major position in Trump's health agencies. Despite Trump's initial promises to give Kennedy a significant role, many of his closest allies are pushing back hard. They argue that Kennedy's checkered past and views on vaccination will make it impossible for him to survive a Senate confirmation hearing. Moreover, even if he somehow manages to navigate the confirmation process, some insiders have pointed out that Kennedy would be unable to obtain the necessary security clearance to assume any meaningful role within the administration. This debate underscores the tension between Trump's promises and the realities of governing. On one hand, Trump has promised to give his allies free rein over certain key sectors, but on the other, his own team is advising him to cut ties with individuals like Kennedy who might create unnecessary roadblocks for his agenda. This is just one more example of how Trump's administration will likely be plagued by tension between his ideological vision and the pragmatic concerns of those around him. The Marjorie Taylor Greene versus Elon Musk battle, a microcosm of Trump's larger power struggles. Another dramatic and telling example of the power struggles within Trump's orbit centers on the clash between Marjorie Taylor Greene, a vocal Trump supporter, and Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur. Greene has been vocal in asserting that she deserves a position within Trump's administration, citing her unwavering support for him during his campaign. In contrast, Musk, the South African-born billionaire CEO of Tesla, is a newcomer to the Trump fold. While Musk's wealth and influence have won him favor with Trump, Greene and her allies argue that she has been a far more dedicated supporter. She, along with her partner Brian Glenn, are now openly lobbying for a spot in the new administration, and they feel slighted by Musk's growing prominence. This rift is a perfect example of the factionalism that is starting to take root in Trump's camp. Greene, who has aligned herself with the most extreme elements of the Republican Party, sees herself as a key player in Trump's future, while Musk, despite being a latecomer to the political scene, has positioned himself as a major influence. This conflict between the established far-right and the billionaire tech elite will likely play out in dramatic fashion, adding to the sense of chaos surrounding Trump's administration. The backstage drama. The Rudy Giuliani and Matt Gaetz factor. It wouldn't be a Trump administration without the presence of familiar figures like Rudy Giuliani and Matt Gaetz, both of whom have been staunch Trump allies throughout the years. As Trump's second term looms, both men are likely to seek positions of power within the administration. Giuliani, whose legal troubles have mounted in recent years, will likely be pushing for a prominent role in Trump's cabinet, despite the fact that his career has been marred by controversy. Gaetz, the embattled Florida congressman, will also be angling for influence, having served as one of Trump's most vocal defenders during the first term. The problem, however, is that the more prominent these figures become, the more their flaws and scandals will come to the forefront. Trump will be forced to confront the issue of how to handle these two figures who have stood by him through thick and thin, but who may be too toxic to be of any use in a future administration. Giuliani's potential requests for a role in Trump's second term could lead to more public drama, while Gaetz's past behavior may continue to taint his chances of a meaningful appointment. Leaks, backstabbing, and the end of loyalty. As the struggle for power intensifies, so too will the leaks from inside Trump's inner circle. The media, both friendly and hostile, will be quick to pick up on any signs of discord, amplifying the chaos and dysfunction that are already taking root. Expect to see more behind-the-scenes stories of backstabbing and betrayal, with figures like Giuliani, Gaetz, Greene, and Musk all likely to be sources of juicy leaks that paint their rivals in the worst possible light. This constant drip of negative stories will only deepen the fractures within Trump's camp. What was once a loyal and unified front is now fracturing under the weight of ambition and ego. As these allies tear each other apart, the public will be left to watch the spectacle unfold, uncertain of who will come out on top. If the first week of Donald Trump's second presidential campaign is any indication, his administration is already in freefall. The early signs of chaos, infighting, and backstabbing are just a glimpse of what's to come. As power struggles rage on among his allies, Trump will find himself in the midst of a tumultuous second term, with his administration constantly teetering on the edge of dysfunction. From the judicial branch to his own inner circle, no one seems safe from the bitter feuds that are erupting all around him. The question remains, can Trump navigate these internal battles and somehow emerge victorious, or will the chaos consume him before he even has a chance to implement his policies? One thing is for sure, this second term promises to be a never-ending drama, and we're all just along for the ride. The stakes for the country are high, but for those of us watching from the outside, the show is only getting started. As the rivalries intensify and the drama escalates, we can only wonder, how will this unprecedented level of dysfunction affect the future of American governance? Only time will tell.